Hi everyone, this is Scott Letts, and most of you, I posted the first episode, a political rant on YouTube as what is communism. But today, for TikTok, I'm going to start with the amendments of the Constitution. We're going to start a series of the Constitution. So, without further ado, this is part one. This is the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. And this is episode 1 for TikTok and episode 2 for everybody else. Okay. The United States government and political parties are bound by the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the United States is what every person in our government is sworn to protect, including the President of the United States. If the Constitution is changed and a new one replaces it, we have a new government. We have a new country, and it's no longer the United States of America as we know it. The scary thing is that our government officials don't fully know the Constitution, nor does America's people. So today, for Political Rant, we will read and discuss each amendment. First, with this episode, we will discuss the First Amendment, and this will be part 1 and of the United States Constitution. Amendment 1. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abriding the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right for people peaceably to assemble and the petition the government for a readiness of grievances. Okay, so number 1, when you read the First Amendment, it gives us the freedom to worship any god they choose, not excluding Christianity. As long as we are not harming anyone. In Britain, in Great Britain, back when we were ruled by the British, the king got to decide which religion you got to worship in. It was the Church of England, and everything else was heresy. Okay, if you didn't believe in the Church of England, then you were a heretic, pretty much. So, the authors and signers of the Constitution want to give people the right for free thinking, and that's what the First Amendment is actually about. The amendment does not mean every belief other than Christianity. It includes Christianity as well, as a religious entity that has its rights to worship the God of their choice without any outside interference. All religions, including Christianity and Judaism, have the right to worship. The government can have religious people in it, but they are not to force that belief on the people. Number 2, the authors and signers of the Constitution also believed that freedom of religion and freedom of speech went hand in hand. Freedom of speech is important. This allows people to express their beliefs in public without fear of oppression. Freedom of speech also allows people not to listen. So in other words, just because I say I have freedom of speech doesn't mean you have to listen, okay? Doesn't mean I have to listen to you. So, people who say, oh, I'm going to take off my clothes as a freedom of speech in public. Well, you know what? That doesn't mean I have to look at you take off your clothes, okay? That's just the way it is, okay? Keep your clothes on, please. Okay, so the First Amendment is all about freedom of thought. If any atheist forces evolution, a Christian forces the Bible, or Muslims force the Quran, they are violating the First Amendment. So, in other words, if I tell you you can't believe in the Bible, if I tell you you can't believe in the Quran, if I tell you you can't believe in Darwin, God knows why you'd want to, then, of course, I am forcing you into my beliefs. But it's the reverse thing, okay? So if you tell me I can't worship God as a Christian, then you're forcing me into your beliefs. You are taking away my right to free thinking. So in other words, we are not to outlaw religion. Okay? We are not to outlaw church. We are not to outlaw the Bible. Because we need to make sure that people have the right to free thinking and free speech and the freedom of assembly. Okay. Number 3, freedom of assembly. This means no government, political party, or person has a right to arrest or prosecute people who for practicing their right to worship in their religious beliefs. Okay? There are many groups who are suing special interest groups for violating the First Amendment. So as Americans, we need to do our part to protect American freedom. You, of course, don't need to agree. In America, you have a right to disagree, but keep in mind that lives were lost to protect our freedom, our liberties, and to give us our freedom. And we still have men and women fighting for our freedom to this day and dying for our right to be free. No one should claim they are offended just to shut people up and get their way. We have to be responsible with our freedom. Freedom demands responsibility. And as Americans, we need to do our part to make sure our freedoms are not abused or taken away. Okay? So, problem is people like Bernie Sanders and other people, they'll bring up the freedom of speech part, but they won't bring up the freedom of religion part. Religious groups have a right to sue any entity who tries to remove their rights to worship. Okay, that's the First Amendment for you. This is your first episode for TikTok. Second episode for the rest of you. So God bless. I will see you next time. Have a good day.